All right. Quick tips to start the new year. That's what this episode is all about. Very quick, punchy. So pay attention if you are the self-competitive type who is always grateful, but never really satisfied with your own work. I say this all the time. I'm proud of the work I've done, but I have just the right amount of self-hate to know that I'm nothing special. All right. I have to hear my voice all the time. I am not somebody that is like in love with myself at all. I do like that I believe in what I do, and I believe in what we do at Art of Coaching. Me, Allie, Liz, everybody involved. We do not feed you guys BS. We know life is too short. So we're very much that type. If you're the type that always wonders what more you could have done, and we'll try to do anything to improve, even if only the smallest way. Anybody that's just hard on yourself, you need this episode more than anyone. Because we're going to talk about how you can kind of unmind F yourself and really make sure that you get some things done this year. And when everybody else is running around doing their fake resolutions and all the nonsense that's going to be done by February, you'll have made progress on some things. So here they are. They're nothing mind-blowing, but you probably need to hear them. Number one, be consistent. All right. This is something I shared with our coalition mastermind group, which is if you're new to Art of Coaching, this is very much our long-term group-based mentoring program where other coaches get together, share ideas, share struggles, and kind of workshop ideas together. But I had made a note to one of them, really all of them. And I said, I was thinking of some of them after reflecting on a recent call that we had, because we get on calls twice a month. And something worth considering that none of us can escape is at times, we always feel like we need to add something more to what we offer. If we have a brand or a business, or that we have to add something more to our life or our skill set and all these things, whatever you want to look at, right? And sometimes that works, right? We can think, all right, I'm going to learn this year. I'm going to add this year. We at Art of Coaching can think we're going to offer this year. And sometimes it doesn't, right? There's some things that just don't work. And we can stress out about it. We can feel like we could have done more. We could fight where our business is. I know that my mind with Art of Coaching is where I want it to be 3 years from now. But I have to deal with where it is right now as well. Right. And it's successful. And I feel confident enough to say that. I know we're not supposed to say that in coaching. You're not supposed to say those things, but guys, it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey. I faced a lot of hate early on when I decided to kind of break the mold and stop just being a strength coach and go out and be a coach to a lot more folks who are dealing with a wider range of problems, whether that's in their business, their relationships, or whatever. Some of you might want to, chuckle and use the term life coach. We don't use that term. We're just coaches, and we help coaches get out of their own way with a lot of things. But it took 3 to 4 years for these things to take off. Yeah, the book took off, and that's great. I'm grateful for all of you. I think we sold 500 copies, signed and personalized copies of Conscious Coaching all over the world with our holiday promotion. But there are other things that you guys never see that flop, right? Just like anybody, we have things that we put out that flop tremendously. And then it can make you think, all right, well, I need to do this now. I need to do that now. And we decided that this year, we're not going to do any of that. We're going to say, all right, what do we have that's worked really well? And what are we going to just build that complements that, right? We know for our workshop in March, for example, you could sign up for the 2 days, or if you want to come have dinner at our house and do a separate kind of get to know you, get invited into my world, meet my family. Like, we're actually going to cook for everybody. We're going to cater some stuff in as well. We're adding that as an option for people to purchase, because people have shown that they'll pay money to kind of get that behind the scenes access. And in the past, I kind of wondered, well, is that right? Who am I to dictate if it's right or not? For me, it's my job to provide value, right? So if somebody says, hey, I'd like to pay more if you're doing like a VIP dinner, I'd like to come hang out with you, learn more about your world. Like, I sit there and thank God I'm not that interesting. But yeah, man, I guess I get that, because there were so many times I wanted to just share ideas or kind of see behind the scenes in somebody's life so I could learn. And so we do that. And it's been awesome. I mean, so many of you have bought things like that where you're like, hey man, I'd like to spend, 3 days at your house. What would you charge for something? In the past, I was so scared to charge for my time with anything. And we've seen a huge turnaround with that now because of you guys, because of your grace. And hopefully it's because we've shown you value with all the newsletters we've done and all the podcast episodes we've done. We've shown you enough free value that you trust the paid stuff that we do. But I just want to thank you. And I also want to inspire you, those of you that are still in the muck and mire of it, because we all are to some degree. Guys, you can't rush some of this stuff. Every year we're hit with people that have these big goals and big dreams and kind of want to build their brand and all this. And, it starts with putting out, let's say you do a newsletter. You've got to do that every week or at least every month. You've got to do a podcast. You can't just start these things and stop them. Everybody starts with big. Think about that for those of you that are strength coaches. All these athletes that want to get bigger, stronger, faster, more agile, whatever. If they just start working out, quit working out, that's not going to work. So I'm telling you guys, please just focus on laying a brick instead of building a wall. There's a great story by Will Smith that talks about when he's a child. And if you don't know this, random fact of the day, Will Smith got his name. His father's name is Will as well, but he got his name because his father was very big on just overcoming adversity. So Will is really a testament to willpower, but he talks about how him and his brother, every day his dad would put him to work and they had to build this wall. They had to do the mortar. They had to add the lye. They had to do all this stuff, wet the cement, go through the mixture. It was just mind numbing work. And one day they were complaining, and I'm very much just consolidating the story. And their dad heard him complaining that, this wall's never going to be done. And he said, quit thinking about the wall, just lay the damn bricks. And Will said, that made a huge difference in my life. He goes, when my marriage disintegrated, I thought about laying a brick. When something else went wrong and I didn't get a movie role, I laid a brick. When, another business deal went through, fell through, I laid a brick. He goes, because I couldn't always think about, if I thought about building a wall, it all seemed intimidating, but I know that I can at least lay one damn brick really well. And guys, we have to lay bricks every day. I was laid out with COVID, and you're talking to somebody and I'm not getting into the politics of this, right? I travel internationally and all this stuff, but I'd been vaccinated, all this, my parents had all been boosted, vaccinated, and we all got COVID over the holidays. And here I am trying to meet deadlines for my book, trying to meet deadlines for my doctorate, trying to bring you guys content because you rely on me to do so, and you expect me to do so. And I don't want to let you down. I have to be a dad, and I'm just laid out, and mainly just not able to think really well. I had all these. So bottom line, what I did do is I was like, all right, what can I do? I can lead our staff meetings. I can make sure and do our year-end review and make sure that I lay out the vision really well. I can make sure that I can support people remotely, whether it's by answering this email, taking care of these DMs, following up with leads that said they want to attend our workshops. What is something I can do that day, even if it's just helping my wife with the dishes? So what am I saying? I'm saying, get out a piece of paper and write down some categories in your life. Let's say it's, with your house, right? Something that you do in your house or as a spouse, something that you do with a business, something that you do as a coach, whatever, your training, it could be whatever. And lay out the lowest common denominator of what laying out a brick means. If I'm really sick and I can't do that much, laying a brick for me could be, well, I'm just going to list out some possible newsletter topics that we're going to send to our audience this month. Maybe I don't get a lot of writing done. One time I didn't get any writing done for my doctorate this week, which was super disappointing because the last week in December is usually my most productive week. Coaching is not very busy. My emails are quiet because everybody's with family or kind of waiting for the year end. I was going to get a lot done. This was a huge week for me and none of it happened. But what I could do is read an article. What I could do is do some highlighting. So I just want you guys to think about where you can lay bricks. It's cliche for a reason. It's true. All right. You're going to get sick. Things are going to go wrong. None of your plans are going to go as you thought, right? You're not going to beat the world overnight. And so just figure out where you can lay a brick, all right? Lay bricks for years. And that's why I'm proud of where AOC is currently. Still very hard. And I'm looking at some of you lovingly. Some of you have digested our free content forever, and you haven't paid for anything, but I still love you. I just got to lay more bricks to earn your trust and earn your business, right? And that's not something we get bitter about. It's something that we want to figure out. And we just know that some of you, it may take longer to earn your trust. Hopefully we can do that. We're going to keep laying bricks. That's life. That's business. That's relationships. Wouldn't you know it? That's coaching. All right. So as I told our coalition members, the ones that I noticed that continue to progress and evolve most are the ones that endure. They're consistent. They don't freak out. They don't go for quick fixes. They embrace divergent thinking and they show up call after call after call, and they stay engaged with others in our community. And that's what I'm challenging you guys to do too, at least if you want to have a better year, right? If you want to have a better year. Number two, right? Number two, ask for help. That's an easy way to get better this year, but there's a caveat. Also be a grown-up. Can this be the year where you guys just don't allow yourself to use the same excuses you use year after year after year? A friend of mine who really started off as just a supporter that had read my book a few years back, reached out, and we were having a conversation because he started his own business now, and we were just chatting about things. He used to work in professional sport. Now he does his own thing outside of coaching. But he had mentioned, I said, where did you grow the most this year? And he said, simple, man, I've tried to hold myself accountable on not making the same excuses I make year after year. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, do you remember when, I told you after I'd read your book that I wanted to get 20 workshops? And then I told you that another year and another year. And eventually he was saying, I DM'd him and said, hey, you tell me this every year. What's it going to take for you to actually do it this year? Because you keep reaching out to me with the same problems. I know I sound super compassionate, but I mean, guys, that's just my voice. It was the same way that I coach athletes. If they told me they wanted to do something, I'm going to hold them accountable. And he said, every year I just told you that I was, time, money. He said, what I found is it was never the money. Really, it was the fact that I was scared that I would spend the money, go to it, and then not apply it. And that's what I had to get better at, is looking at everything I spent money on that year from an education or professional development standpoint and said, what am I actually going to apply? And what is actually going to differentiate me? For him, when he was in pro sport, he could go to so many conferences and apply training tips and techniques. But guys, there's only so many different ways to load a bar. There's only so many different ways to load an athlete. There's only so many ways to make conditioning more challenging in this. Eventually, it's all the same stuff again and again and again. The human organism is not complicated, right? It's very much like investing, right? There's times where you invest more. There's times where you pull back. With training, there's times where you train harder and you pull back. We want to overcomplicate this stuff, but it's all managing stress. It's all managing our effort. But the bottom line is, he said, I had to grow up. I had to realize that I was spending money on a lot of conferences and clinics that just made me feel safe. It told me stuff I already knew. I didn't have to interact a bunch. And then I was wondering why I wasn't getting better. And it was because I was just doing the same thing again and again. But I kept telling myself I was getting better because I spent the money. Guys, that's performative. All right. That's performative. All of us struggle to find enough time and money to do everything we want to do. Right. I want to hire 3 more staff. We don't have the money to do that right now. Right. So we all have some kind of limitation. I'm asking you to evaluate if you're actually spending your time and money on the things you need to. Right. What is it going to take for you to finally take this huge, scary risk? Because that's if you want help in something, like if I want help growing a certain part of my business, or let's say Liz and I wanted help in our marriage, I'm going to have to go pay. I might pay a counselor. We might pay a therapist. We wanted help with one part of our business. We paid and did that. Last year, 2021, I paid somebody to help me with my writing as I work on my new book. I also paid somebody to help me with a speech, more money than I had ever. It's kind of about just having confidence in yourself, guys. If you're constantly scared that, I don't want to pay this money for that because I don't know if I use it, that's a confidence problem. That's not a money problem. And that's okay. It's natural. We all have confidence issues at times, but it's not okay to just do it again and again and again and again and make the same excuses, right? They say the best things in life are free. Great. The most valuable lessons you learn in life are expensive. They are going to cost you time, your ego, efficiency, maybe your reputation, or money. Now, the only difference is, out of those 5 things, one of those is proactive. Okay. You typically, if you don't want to learn these lessons, you're going to learn them one way or another. You're going to lose time. Your ego is going to get hit. Your efficiency is going to be down. Your reputation is going to be hurt. Or you could just spend the money up front to learn the things you know you need to learn and do the things you need to do, or get the coach you need to get to make sure that you decrease the likelihood of you embarrassing yourself or being stagnant. I love all of you, but some of you just got to wake up to that. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I hear it all the time, and it leads into, let me just say this. It's why you shouldn't apologize for what you charge, right? Or what you ask for salary or anything like that, as long as you bring the goods. And that's why we don't apologize for what we charge. We don't. We give so much away for free, guys. We're never going to feel bad about the things that we charge for. The price is the price. And that's because we hold ourselves, even if we price something at $10,000, Allie and me, we're going to hold ourselves accountable to delivering on a value. It's something that gives you twice that value. Will we always win? No, not everybody's going to be happy with our product, right? We have off days, but you damn well better believe we're bringing that effort. So please get the help you need this year. Invest in yourself actually this year, whatever that is, right? The other one, and this is the last one. Can this be the year that we bring manners back? And I'm referencing my phone here if you're watching online, because I'm trying to pull up a note and a text, right? And I'm not going to mince my words here. I've spent too much time in the past apologizing. And I'll give you what I mean as an example. In the past, there was one episode where I went on and on about how there's a certain amount of decorum missing when we'll get riddled with DMs where people will say, hey, what advice do you have for a new coach? And in one episode, I kind of went off and said, and I'm from the Midwest, right? So I'm going to qualify that. Like, we're raised with a certain manner of speaking. Never in my life would I ever think to reach out to somebody that I respect or admire or actually want help from, even if you don't respect or admire them. But I don't know why you'd reach out for help if you don't respect or admire somebody, and not use their name or not lead with some kind of reciprocity and all this. And it's really what led us to creating the Find a Mentor guide. We'll put this in the show notes. So go to artofcoaching.com/find a mentor. If you know somebody that really needs to work on their manners, or you have interns or people like that, need some help with their writing and their outreach. But going back to this, what I'm not going to apologize about is I went off on this episode about why people think that's okay. And I got lit up on social media by some people saying, well, that person might not know any better. You shouldn't judge. You talk about art of coaching, that's judgy. And, give them just give them some room. Maybe they need to grow. Maybe they don't know what they don't know. Guys, yeah. Okay. And to a degree, I agree with you, but people understand the concept of manners. Some of this stuff is just common sense, and it's not just young coaches, right? It really isn't. It's not young coaches at all. We get people that reach out. Just recently, somebody reached out to be on the podcast, and every year we get requests, and you guys have your own version of this, whether somebody wants to intern with you, work for you, whatever. And they will pitch themselves. And this individual is like, hey, I think we'd do awesome together. We'd have a great conversation. And I said, hey, thanks for reaching out. I got to ask you though, do you listen to the podcast? Well, no. And I appreciated their honesty. But guys, think about that. Would you ever go apply for a job for a company, unless you were desperate? That being the key word. Would you ever go apply for a job for a company that you really don't have a lot of information on? You've never utilized their products. You're not familiar with it, anything like that. Well, then why the hell would you ask to be on a podcast you don't listen to? Let me give you the answer. It's because there are people out there that just want to self-promote. And we've seen this. We've swung and we've missed in the past. We've had people come on, especially early days when we were still figuring it out. And we were happy to get their word out and their story out, but there was no reciprocity. They didn't want to share. They didn't want to do this. And you know this, somebody in your life, right? Who have you helped that there's just no reciprocity? And so, what I'm trying to tell you is, if you're trying to grow professionally, right? Or if you're trying to expand your personal network as well, be cognizant about how you're reaching out to people. Be cognizant, use their name, offer them reciprocity. If I reach out to be on somebody else's podcast, you better damn believe it's a podcast I've listened to. I know certain episodes that have helped me the most. And we're on to you tricksters out there that try doing this to us, by the way. We actually give them information like, hey, these episodes resonated, specifically these points about this and this and this. Additionally, here's where I think I could get provide your audience with value. But instead, we get people that reach out all the time. And sometimes, guys, it's even cost me to lop friends off my contact list, because we make a very conscious effort to not just bring friends on here. So do not reach out to us if you just want to get on the podcast so you can promote yourself. Reach out to us if you've listened to it, you understand who our audience is, right? I'm never going to disrespect you guys like this, my listeners, by bringing somebody on that is not cognizant of giving you guys value. Not anymore, at least. I made those mistakes. So I'd encourage you guys to go back and listen to our episode about how to reach out to people you admire or how to reach out to a mentor. But we've got to bring manners back. We've got to bring manners back. And that's also goes back to number 2. If you want help, guys, offer something in return to people. Like, we've got, like, in society, we're dehumanizing ourselves a lot. And I don't give a shit how good your resume is, who you've worked with, who vouches for you. If you don't have good interpersonal skills and you don't have good manners, you're not making it through. you're not somebody that we're interested in working with. You're not somebody that's going to get help from us. You've got to be a human being, and you've got to put the time in to really master interpersonal skills, right? And this is coming from somebody that's messed it up myself. There's been plenty of faux pas. The difference is that we continue to work on that. Now, that said, I am a softie. So if you are a young strength coach listening, or a young coach, but this one is actually mainly for young strength coaches, if you want advice on how to be a better coach and all that, just go to our website. You can go to brettbartholomew.net or artofcoaching.com, go to the free resources tab, and you will see all that advice. We will also make sure to link the advice and some of those things in the show notes. And guys, I know kind of a ranty episode, but that's that. The tips to start the year. And I welcome you to tell me where this is some bad advice. I challenge myself, but you're not going to convince me that telling people to just be more consistent this year, ask for help, but invest in themselves and quit making excuses, and to bring manners back in how you interact, how you reach out to others, how you approach people, how you show respect, are not good pieces of advice. Because I'm telling you, no matter who gets ahead of you, who you think is ahead of you, who you think's beating you in your field or this and that, guys, the people that don't do those things fall off. I've seen it. I've seen people do a lot of things that get them massive success early on, but then they don't pay attention to the intangibles. They don't pay attention to the things that we all roll our eyes at, or they're just not consistent. They burn out over time, and they don't ask for the right help. They start just fading into the background, and it is all too common. I hope you understand. I tell you this convicting message out of love. My job is to help you guys and bring you no nonsense advice. I understand my tone's not for everybody. I try not to bring this tone every episode, but we do try to be convicting, because when you're 90 years old and you're on your deathbed, you're going to think about, what are the things that mattered in my life? What are the things that mattered in my life? That's the stuff we want to bring you, telling you how to interact more successfully, bet on yourself, get out of your own way. These are the things that you don't want to regret when your final moments are up. You're not going to sit there and say, I wish I would have programmed this back squat differently. You're not going to wish that you listened to one more podcast with the same celebrity that wrote the same leadership book pretty much 3 years in a row, again and again and again. You're going to care about the things that matter, the core human being fundamentals, and you're going to find them here at artofcoaching.com. I appreciate all you guys. Happy New Year. More to come in the future. Talk to you soon.